Okay, so hi everyone. Welcome to this wonderful workshop of Inner Child. And as you know, some of you might have heard about this concept before, or for some of you, it might be entirely new. Okay, so I would be starting from scratch because a lot of people have heard about this inner child, but they don't really know what is it. Okay, so that this is what I will be doing, and today I've also created a case study so that can explain it better. I can explain this concept better so that we can relate to how inner child issues are impacting us as an adult. Okay, so we will be taking a real life case study, which is actually a case study of one of my clients I work with. And before that, I will be covering certain basic concepts so that you know, and you can also see where you can relate to all of this, okay? And feel free to put any questions in the chat box. And of course, you can also ask me questions later on my WhatsApp group or through anyone. You know, I'm always available to talk and help you guys. So, okay, let's start then. So, everyone here, what is trauma? What do you understand by trauma? So, when I ask this question in my workshops generally, so people say that something like a war or something like a some major happening in the life causes us trauma, or some major accident, losing a parent, watching someone close die. These are the traumas. However, trauma can be in smaller things also. It can be in smaller episodes also. And the impact could be on your emotional well-being, on how you deal with others, how you deal with your own emotions, how you deal with difficult situations. It can impact everything, right? And it can be simply a mother not being able to spend time with the kid, or it can simply be a child getting scolded for not scoring well in the exams, or a child being mocked at for being fat, or being ugly, or being dark. Anything like that can happen in our surroundings, which can cause us trauma, which could cause us hurt. Okay, so this is what trauma is. It is not necessarily some major episode. Now we call it inner child trauma. So it can be of different types. It could be ancestral trauma, or it could be intergenerational trauma, which is, coming from generation to generation, which is similar to ancestral trauma. It could also be a past life trauma. Okay. In past life trauma, we generally see that, there is something in the past life that may have happened that is impacting us even now. Something like when we are going through a street and we think, we have already been there on this street, even if we actually haven't been. So, those kind of things can be related to the past life, right? But here we are talking about inner child trauma, which basically means that all the episodes that happened to us when we were kids are impacting us somehow. And this also covers how watching how our parents react to certain episodes, how our parents reacted towards anxiety, or watching our parents fight, or watching them dealing with stress. So all of these things also shape us in certain ways. Having a parent who is not having boundaries, or having a parent who says that, in a lot of families I see, if there is a daughter, then the mother will say that, you are my best friend. And this used to happen a lot with me, that my mom would start oversharing things with me, right? So although in the hindsight we feel that wow, everything is fine, and the daughter and the mother are friends, however, for the child's well-being, there needs to be certain boundaries, because child doesn't need to know everything at a very young age, right? So it can also lead some perceptions to form, some behaviors to form, which will impact the child. And it is there in everyone, all of us sitting here, or all the people we meet on a daily basis. All of these people have some kind of inner child trauma, okay? And sometimes it will not be reflected out in open, because that person will completely seem to be like a very happy, charming person, and you will feel that, wow, he or she is so cool. How can he have a trauma? But no, even that can be trauma, because maybe that person is just pretending to be so happy so that everyone around is happy. But whereas he or she might be ignoring his or her own feelings. Okay, so even that can be trauma. And how do we identify trauma? Okay, we just identify trauma when something is really hurting us a lot. So if you're just generally going about your life and you are completely okay, then you will not even realize that something could be wrong with us, right? But if it is impacting your well-being, if it is impacting your relationships, or if it is causing you much trouble, and you go into thinking that what is happening with me, why is it happening with me, or you look at some patterns happening, like attracting toxic partners for that matter. Like you had a boyfriend, he was toxic, and then you had another boyfriend, he was also toxic, and then you got married, and then that married partner is also toxic. So, these are the kind of patterns which keep happening to us if we are not healing from the inner child trauma. And so, if we look at some examples here, I've already mentioned, but let's look at it. A child witnessing parents fight. So, when just imagine the scenario where parents are fighting. So the child would either be scared, the child would be quiet. And for example, after the fight, the father comes and tells the child that, you are such a good child. You did not come in between, or you were just quiet at that time. So the child will presume that being quiet when there is a fight going on makes me feel appreciated. So that is the kind of reaction he might pick up. Okay. Or, maybe if the child feels like running away, like, parents are fighting and the child wants to either run away or maybe put himself or herself in the bathroom and just shut down, then, that would also create a kind of a trauma response in the person, that how do we react to certain situations? I will be covering the trauma response part also. Or a child being scolded simply for dropping an ice cream, and how the parent is reacting immediately, that, oh, you have dropped an ice cream, why you have done that. So so that will also teach the kid how to handle stress, but it will also teach the kid, like, as if he whatever wrong he does, he will not accept it, he will not be accepted, or he or she can pick up anything based on their psychic history. Okay. Or a child being bullied for being fat, or body shaming is quite common in all across all the age groups. Or a child being punished not for scoring well. So these are just very few examples which I have quoted from the childhood, which can impact us even as an adult. Okay. But we don't realize it. Okay. We don't really realize that this could be something so deep, right? Okay, Sayali is here. Hi, Sayali, welcome. Yeah. So, okay, I'll again put it in the presentation mode. Now, let us understand that what is a coping mechanism and what is a trauma response. So, a lot of people say, and a lot of people tell me that, Neha, I am a procrastinator, or Neha, I'm very lazy, और बहुत सारे लोग मुझे कहते हैं, they tell me all the time that, Neha, I overthink. I keep on overthinking, or Neha, I cannot say no. Right. So what are these? These are simply the coping mechanism and the trauma responses which we learned over time. Okay. So for example, a child witnessing a parent's fight is keeping quiet at the moment, and his parents are saying that very good, you kept quiet, and so in the eyes of the parent, the child kept quiet, but the child was quiet because he was scared, and out of fear, he couldn't speak. So the child would learn to manage his fear or his stressful moments by keeping quiet or by shutting down. So that is the coping mechanism that the child will adapt, or simply look at it like, so and so person, like for example, Sita, you have not got good marks, so mama is sad. So what will the child learn? The child will learn that, I need to get good marks to please mommy. And then, she meets a teacher who says something to her that, to please me, you have to do certain things. Or I also get clients, who are sufferers of childhood abuse, where they had physical abuse by the family members. And they would say that, don't go and tell this to others because mom will get upset, right? Or to simply to please the perpetrator also, they would develop this habit of people pleasing, where they would not be able to say no, because that is the only way they feel that they would be accepted and they would be feeling secure, right? So a lot of married women also do this, that they keep on doing things for in-laws or for partner because they want to feel accepted. right? So, why I'm using this word accepted is, see, there are two basic needs of every human being starting from birth. It is safety and it is safety and connection. Okay. So, in order to have that safety and connection, people will start people pleasing, or they will not be able to say no, or they cannot draw boundaries, or even being hyper vigilant or overthinking. This means that, for example, the situation is happening and I'm overthinking, like guests have to come. So I'm just thinking that, what will I give them as soon as they come to the house? Will I give them water? Will I give them lemon water? Will I give them tea? And then what will I give them again? And then what will I give them as the third course, fourth course? So I'm just thinking, 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 thinking. And even though when the guest comes, guest tells us that, we have just come to meet you. It's our fast today. Okay. So I think these kind of things happen with us a lot of times, or maybe if I look at it from the working perspective, if you're in office and if you have so for example, you have a appraisal meeting, right? And you're overthinking about it, like what will my manager say? Oh, will the manager remember the mistake which I made in the month of January? December में आपका appraisal meeting है, and you are thinking about whether he will remember the mistake you made in the month of January, because you're overthinking, and because this is keeping you protected against any situation which is suddenly coming to you. Right. And please drop in your questions also in the chat box. I'll take them. But this simply means that, your brain has adopted this overthinking so that you are able to predict every single situation where you can be at risk, where you can feel a threat. Okay. So these are very common words and very important words like threat, safety, connection, survival, because your brain is not made to develop, guys. It is being made to survive. Okay, so if you are stuck in a natural calamity, your first instinct would be that मुझे यहाँ से बचना है. You will not at that time think about where is your mobile phone, where are your clothes, where is your laptop. No, that time you will only want to survive. Right? Simply like early man, like he just managed things anyhow, because he wanted to survive. So at that time, development was not his main thing. His main thing was survival. So similarly, all of us, all the humans, we want to survive. And for that, we have certain coping mechanisms and trauma responses. Okay. So for some people, it can also be yelling or shouting away as a way to defend themselves, to protect themselves. Right. So any questions? Anybody wants to ask something? You can unmute and ask me. Sayali, Dipanjali. One person is not there. She'll be watching the recording. So, yeah. Is it clear? Do you think something of this thought resonates with you?
Can you explain how connection is met? Like overthinking, you told us as a
Hmm.
response to seek
Hmm.
safety. What are the
Yeah.
implications to be connected? Like, how do we respond to that?
You are seeking connection. Okay. You want to be connected. So, for example, uh, you are very tired and your partner tells you that, please cook some elaborate breakfast for me. But you are so tired and you are simply like, bread butter. You in your mind, you feel like, yeah, simply eat bread butter. No, why do I have to cook? But in order to please him, in order to feel safe, in order to feel appreciated, you disregard your own body requirement at that time, and you go and actually prepare aloo puri and a lot of other things because you want to please your partner at that moment. And a partner is a very intimate example, but it happens a lot of time with colleagues also, right? For example, simply there is an office party and you really don't want to go for it, but you will say यार मैं नहीं जाऊंगी तो सबको बुरा लगेगा. कितनी बारी हम सोचते हैं ऐसा, राइट? कि यार मना करने से उसको बुरा लगेगा. So this is the people pleasing tendency where you lose the sense of your boundary, which is making you comfortable. ठीक है. ओवर थिंकिंग में ये होता है कि ओवर थिंकिंग इज अ वे टू कीप यू सेफ बिकॉज योर माइंड इज इमेजिनिंग एवरी पॉसिबल सिनेरियो which will keep you safe. ठीक है. And
Okay, that helps.
some
Yeah.
people, what they do is they try to rescue. एक इसके archetypes भी I will discuss. So, some people try to say that, if we are upset, we will not express it. Because when we are upset, when we express that we are sad, people do not like us. So they always tend to suppress their sadness, and they always pretend to be happy. Because being happy, showing that they're happy, has been their way of being accepted, has been their way of building a connection. ओके. एंड सबसे ज्यादा इम्पैक्ट अगर हम देखेंगे एज एन एडल्ट, तो व्हेन वी बिकम एन एडल्ट, it can show up in every relationship. But from the childhood, okay, from when you were a child, or even when you were just born, even then those things are stored in your body. So I'll cover some somatics part also later. But what I'm trying to say is that initially your environment has just your primary caregivers, okay, your mom and dad, and then you can expand to grandparents, to the extended family, then to schooling, then to neighborhood. So all of these things will impact you as a child. However, the primary connection in our lives is with our parents. Okay. सो मेनली वहीं से ही आता है, बट और जगहों से भी आ सकता है. व्हेन आई विल कवर द केस स्टडी, वी विल बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड इट बेटर. बट ऑल ऑफ दीज आर कोपिंग मैकेनिज्म्स कि यार इस सिचुएशन से हम कैसे कोप अप करें कि हम सेफ हैं, सुरक्षित हैं, एंड एवरीबडी इज देयर विद अस, वी फील कनेक्टेड. ओके. याली, यू कैन आस्क मी एनीथिंग. ओके गाइस, पूछते रहना. या फिर क्वेश्चंस आप यू कैन पुट इन द ड्रॉप बॉक्स ऑल्सो. ठीक है. सो नाउ लेट अस सी कि फर्स्टली सबसे बड़ा पार्ट है जो, लाइक, हाउ टू ओवरकम दिस. फर्स्टली पीपल डोंट इवन नो कि हमें ये चैलेंज होता है. वी कीप ऑन thinking about what is the solution, why am I like this, why am I feeling low confident, why am I not able to speak up. However, these deep rooted problems need to be cured. Okay. And it's a journey, it's a healing journey. And so how do we overcome it? Okay. First, and the most important thing which I consider is, which is my belief, and it's a belief because I have personally experienced it, is regression therapy. It is inner child therapy, which is really superb. A session happens where the client and the therapist will sit for an hour, or maybe it can go up to for 2 hours also, where we try to relive the moment. We connect with the inner child, we relive the moment, we give it a closure. And that is where the moment you meet your inner child, that is where the work starts, where you have to work on your own, of course, with your therapist supporting you, that is there. But that is where the work starts, that now you know that this is the problem, ये problem मुझे यहाँ से आई है. So I'll give you an example here. One of my clients, she found her husband cheating, okay, and so the first thought which came to her mind was that whatever I love, it always goes away. ठीक है. और ये बहुत लोगों का थॉट होता है. सो when we worked on this, she moved to a point wherein she was very young, okay, and उसकी mom ने she was in school and her mom gave away her favorite sweater to some cousin. Basically जैसे गेस्ट आए थे, somebody came in the house and mom did not have anything to give. तो उन्होंने क्या किया, अपनी बेटी का जो नया एक बहुत स्पेशल स्वेटर था उस बच्ची के लिए, she gave it away. And there at that moment of 5 year old, she wouldn't speak up, but and then, she said that, whatever I love goes away from me. And then she went back to 7 year old part of her, 8 year old part of her. जब ऐसे ऐसे इवेंट्स हुई, something very small, like a pencil box किसी और को चला गया जो मुझे बहुत पसंद है, या फिर suppose two best friends are in the same class and then class shuffle हो गई तो वो friend चला गया. So you realize that वो एक incident जो था, that girl who's now probably lady who's 32, 33 year of age, she's still stuck with the same feeling that जो भी मेरा special चीज है वो मुझसे चली जाती है. So in her mind, she's still stuck in that time capsule of 5 year old, right? However, that is past. That thing is past, and as an adult, she needs to view this episode in a different way, maybe. Right. So this is how therapy works. इसलिए हम I personally believe a lot in therapy. I have personally taken almost 20 sessions of inner child therapy, and now it's very easy for me to connect with my inner child. And but it doesn't mean that I no longer take sessions. Sometimes I still feel like taking sessions, but of course the frequency is very, very less now. Okay. Then journaling, which we will be covering tomorrow. Okay. Journaling is also very, very effective, but it works beautifully along with the therapy. So if you're taking therapy and if you're doing journaling, then these two things are going to really blend together very well and it will work. The third thing is Ho'oponopono, which will work when you simply connect with your inner child. You just say that, dear little Dipanjali, dear little Neha, dear little Sayali, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. Right? But this, as per me, which I have experienced, is not as effective as therapy. But yeah, if you are totally reluctant in investing in therapy, then maybe you can try this and see if it is impacting you or not. Then writing letters to your inner child. Of course, if you have some episodes of, if you have some past memories, then you can write letters also to inner child. You can maybe keep a diary where you can use different colors, you can draw things, you can just, connect with that child of yours and write a letter to the smaller versions of you. 5-year-old, 6, 7, 8-year-old version of you. Like क्या क्या आपको उस वक्त अच्छा लगता था, like anything, like you interact with a child. Similar to that, you can write letters to your inner child. Then the fifth one is reparenting. Again, reparenting works beautifully with the therapy because जब आप inner child से मिल लेते हो, reparenting उसके बाद start होता है. Okay? Reparenting just means that being the parent to your inner child, to the little parts of you that was not present when you needed them. Okay? So, for example, when this child saw his parents fighting, you know, at that moment, he needed a parent, he needed an adult to maybe hug him or to tell him that you are safe, you are protected, you are valued, right? So वो हम रीपेरेंटिंग कब करते हैं जब हम ऑलरेडी इनर चाइल्ड से मिल लेते हैं, व्हेन वी आर गिविंग अ क्लोजर टू दैट एपिसोड एंड वी आर रीलिविंग थ्रू दैट एंड स्लोली वी लर्न कि यार ये हमारी कोपिंग मैकेनिज्म थी, बट वी डोंट हैव टू बी स्टक इन द सेम लूप अगेन, वी कैन ब्रेक द लूप एंड स्टार्ट अगेन. Okay. And then, of course, the most important one, which should ideally we have been on the top, is to be aware, right? Being awareness is very, very, very important. I became aware only when I became a mother. उससे पहले मुझे लगता था that something is wrong with me. I would always blame myself for anything that is happening. I would think कि नेहा तेरे में ही कोई कमी है, that this is happening with you. Something lacks in you. That's why you are not getting promoted. I would completely not think about any kind of politics or any kind of favoritism that might be going on in my office. I would completely blame it to myself that, this is my mistake. This is why it is happening with me. I would keep on blaming myself, or I used to really overthink a lot. I used to overthink a lot, like so much that I started losing friends that you would say यार ये तो बहुत सोचती है, इससे बात करके हमें टेंशन हो जाती है. ठीक है. So when I'm saying all of these things, guys, even I have a history of all of these things, and so you're not alone if you're suffering at any level, right? And any questions, anyone? Sayali, do you want to say anything, ask anything? Dipanjali.
Yeah, Neha, may I ask, how do we know that if how do we know that we need a inner child therapy?
The moment you
Like
think
नॉर्मल लाइफ में तो सबके challenges आते रहते
नहीं,
हैं.
the moment you feel that you need help is the time that you should seek therapy. Because होता क्या है ना दीपांजलि, what I have personally experienced this and I have seen this that, for example, very, very common, very, very common that so जो भी जिनके साथ भी हम रहते हैं, it could be parents or it could also be a partner. ठीक है. छोटी छोटी बातों पे sometimes we have fights with them and होगा क्या ना कि एक दो बारी तो people ignore it, but eventually it will start taking over our mental health. Right. So therein, when you seek help, you will start realizing certain things. And this is how I started my journey. I would often think that, everybody, like I'll tell you in my environment, everyone would always appreciate my husband. But I used to feel that nobody appreciates me. And then when I started taking inner child therapy, I realized that leave everyone, I'm not appreciating myself. I am people pleasing. Like, I'm doing everything. कि किसी को कहीं जाना है तो हाँ 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 हाँ. I will do everything. I will plan the trip. So, there I was not respecting myself. एंड दिस इज अ वेरी डीप कॉन्सेप्ट. मतलब ये एक या दो वर्कशॉप में कवर हो ही नहीं सकता. ये एक एक्सपीरियंशियल थिंग है. यू एक्सपीरियंस इट कि ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है. नेहा, व्हाई एम आई फीलिंग दैट माय हस्बैंड डजंट लव मी. लाइक, बहुत सारी फीमेल्स ऐसा बोलती है दैट आई वांट टू बी इंपॉर्टेंट टू दिस पर्सन, आई वांट टू बी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर माय हस्बैंड. बट ऐसा क्यों होता है? बिकॉज एज अ चाइल्ड, व्हेन यू वर अ चाइल्ड, you did not get that much love and validation from your parent, from your primary caregiver. And now, as an adult, you're trying to fill that void from your partner. Yesterday, I shared a post on Instagram. I don't know if you have seen, but I will discuss that also कि एक कपल में ये कैसे इम्पैक्ट होता है, या फिर होता क्या है कि फॉर एग्जाम्पल, so while growing up, you learned that I always need to be available to help people. For example, ठीक है? And this even I even do as a coach. A lot of times, even as a coach, I do that. That if a client comes to me and he tells me that नेहा मुझे ये problem है, so I just feel like I want to rescue this person. I want to save this person. So मैं उसको बहुत सारे options दूंगी. ये कर लो, ये कर लो, ये कर लो. I will spend a lot of time with them on call. But before they took the shape of my clients, पहले कुछ लोग जो मेरे पास आते थे वो मेरे फ्रेंड्स थे. ठीक है? उससे पहले मे बी व्हेन आई वाज वर्किंग इन माय फर्स्ट जॉब इन मुंबई, इट वुड बी माय रूममेट्स. दैट आई वुड not care about myself. I would only want to please them. ठीक है? Because I was looking in my mind, I wanted to be included. I wanted to be a part of them. ठीक है? या फिर होता है ना नीडीनेस होना, क्लिंगीनेस होना, दैट वी आर कॉन्स्टेंटली कॉलिंग आवर पार्टनर, वी आर फीलिंग इनसिक्योर. ठीक है? सो you have to understand that what behavior is normal and what behavior is not normal. ठीक है? और जो बंदा क्लिंग हो रहा है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ देयर आर टू women and have you seen those people around you, friends around you, where the mom, so I used to have this batchmate in my MBA जिसमें वो जो बंदी थी मेरी, मतलब फ्रेंड तो नहीं थी, शी वाज अ नोन पर्सन. उसकी मॉम उसको दिन में 10 बार कॉल करती थी. ठीक है? इट वुड बी लाइक, तुमने ये खा लिया, तुमने ये कर लिया. शी वुड वांट टू हैव एवरी सिंगल अपडेट. सो देयर इन, this girl would feel suffocated sometimes कि यार क्या है, मतलब am I like a small kid? So you have to understand कि कौन सा बिहेवियर एबनॉर्मल है, और किसी और का एबनॉर्मल बिहेवियर एक्सेप्ट करना भी एक ट्रॉमा है, बिकॉज यू आर एक्सेप्टिंग इट विदाउट बीइंग एबल टू से इट. एंड Dipanji, everyone is operating out of their trauma. Whoever is around you, whoever is dimming around you, unknown person, सबका reaction, everything is coming out because they have learned it from somewhere. Because a child is born without any conditioning. ठीक है? सब कुछ हमने अपने environment से ही लिया है. Sayali is writing something. Let me see. I feel childhood traumas have also impacted my communication. In office, communication becomes difficult. It can include confusion, fear, inability to frame sentences. So, can therapy improve this, and how long it will take? Sayali, I will tell you, therapy can help you tremendously. आज जो आप जिस नेहा को आप देख रहे हो, I wasn't this person a few years back, okay? And that's why I totally believe in therapy. It takes work. ठीक है? आपको confusion, fear इसलिए हो रहा है because somewhere on the, as you were growing up, maybe you lost your confidence on certain things, or you might be having people around you who pull you down. और वो pull down इसलिए करते हैं आपको क्योंकि आप strong ही नहीं होते हो. आप बोल ही नहीं पाते हो उन्हें. ठीक है? How long does it take? There is no time limit. Okay, like I tell you that I have taken so many sessions and sometimes I still feel like taking a session. ठीक है, अगर मतलब कभी कभी मुझे ये भी ऑफेंसिव लगता है कि यार क्लाइंट ने मुझे रिप्लाई क्यों नहीं किया. सो दिस वाज वन ऑफ माय बिगेस्ट ट्रिगर्स गाइस कि मुझे कोई रिप्लाई नहीं कर रहा. आई वुड रियली फील कि यार आई एम नॉट गुड इनफ, मे बी दैट्स व्हाई दैट पर्सन इज इग्नोरिंग मी. सो आई हैड दिस हैबिट ऑफ कॉलिंग दैट पर्सन अगेन. स्लोली दैट स्टॉप. एंड अभी भी ऐसा होता है अगर मेरे क्लाइंट ने मुझे नहीं रिप्लाई किया. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, देर इज अ कंसल्टेशन कॉल विच हैज टेकन प्लेस एंड that person has not replied to me. I follow up, still no reply. Somewhere I still feel that Neha, is something wrong with me. ओके, सो ट्रिगर तो अभी भी है, बट अब मुझे पता है कि मैं कौन से स्पेस से बोल रही हूँ. Then I realize no, nothing is wrong with me. It is about the client. It is not about me. Getting my point? Okay, Dipanjali जी सर पकड़ के बैठी है. Dipanjali, is it seeming very heavy to you? I will cover a next slide में मैं केस स्टडी एक्सप्लेन करती हूँ. And Sayali, Dipanjali, both of you have been working, so you will be able to relate to that a lot. And Sayali, seriously, we spoke, I think around 4 5 months back. अगर आपने तब से थेरेपी ली होती तो अभी तक ऑलरेडी आप बहुत इम्प्रूव होते. एक एक सेशन से फर्क पड़ता है. एवरी सिंगल सेशन मैटर्स एंड ऑनेस्टली दिस इज, of course there is money involved, but the returns which you get from this money, it is something beyond. मतलब ये ये आप मेजर ही नहीं कर सकते हो. You cannot measure it, seriously I'm telling you. So if this
नहीं
yeah.
नहीं, सॉरी सॉरी, प्लीज कंटिन्यू.
सो मैं यही बोल रही थी कि देयर इज नो राइट टाइम. जब आपको लगता है ना कि आपको हेल्प की जरूरत है, दैट मीन दैट समथिंग इनर वर्क, मतलब अंदर से आपको आवाज आ रही है कि हाँ तुझे ये करना चाहिए. जैसे हम सुबह सो के उठते हैं तो देयर इज नो राइट टाइम टू वेक अप इन द मॉर्निंग. ठीक है, जो आपको सही लगता है वो राइट टाइम है उठने का. कई लोग 12 बजे भी उठते हैं, कई लोग सुबह 4 बजे भी उठते हैं. इट इज एग्जैक्टली द सेम.
Okay,
ठीक
what I
है.
meant to ask that my problem
आई थिंक योर वॉइस इज ब्रेकिंग
of
दीपांजलि.
feeling unheard, disrespected. Yeah, if
हम्म.
I may. Okay, wait a minute. I'm saying that,
हम्म.
yeah, what I'm saying, that how can we say like my problem of feeling disrespected or unheard, or if I may ask Sayali's problem of like she feels communication thing, it is
हम्म.
because of inner child and not because of anything else, or it can be
इट
healed
कैन
by
बी.
inner child, or if
इट
any other form of therapy will work. How can we be
ओके.
sure कि
सो
कौन सी थेरेपी चाहिए इसको?
ठीक है, सो टेल मी समथिंग. जब हम बीमार होते हैं, व्हेन वी फॉल सिक, ओके, एंड आई एम टॉकिंग हियर अबाउट फिजिकल एलिमेंट, ओके. सो you
Hmm.
go to allopathy doctor and that medicine is not suiting you, then you go to a homeopathy doctor. That medicine is not suiting you, but then you go to a naturopathy doctor who gives you some herbs and all, and it helps you. Right. So before I took inner child sessions, I went to a counselor, like a psychologist, and that did not help me because she simply told me to write gratitudes, and I would do that. It helped me, but जो core issue है ना, वो मेरा नहीं solve हुआ था. Try to understand that, so this is an adult version of you. For example, this bottle, but आप सीधा बड़े तो नहीं हुए हो ना, आप पहले छोटे भी थे ना, and you have grown from those experiences. And I have so many examples to give you. I will give you a few more examples अभी. ठीक है. So ट्रायल एंड एरर जो लोग कर चुके हैं, या तो आप उनके एक्सपीरियंस पे जाओ. ठीक है. आफ्टर दैट आई साइंड अप फॉर ऑनलाइन थेरेपी वेयर शी ऑल्सो यूज टू टॉक टू मी वेरी प्रैक्टिकली, एंड तो मैंने वो भी छोड़ दिया. ठीक है. Then I started my inner child work. The first investment which I made was for 5,000 rupees. It was a 15 days का program on WhatsApp. ठीक है, जो मेरी थेरेपिस्ट है उसके साथ ही I signed up. ठीक है. So I did not have any idea about inner child, any idea, slightest मुझे कुछ पता ही नहीं था. बट मैंने कहा ठीक है यार, 5,000 रुपीज ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है या मेरा मेंटल पीस ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. सो एक्सपीरियंशियल होता है. ठीक है.
Mhm.
एक सेशन दो सेशन में कुछ नहीं होता. यू हैव टू टेक एटलीस्ट 3 to 4 सेशंस सो दैट द थेरेपिस्ट इज ऑल्सो एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट आप कहाँ से आ रहे हो. ठीक है. सो
Mhm.
व्हाट यू कैन डू इज, इफ वी ऑल हैव फ्रेंड्स, एंड अगर आपकी कोई ऐसी फ्रेंड है जो हमेशा हैप्पी रहती है, मतलब खुश रहती है, शी इज वेरी सिक्योर्ड, यू नो, शी डजंट फील इनएडिक्वेट, और शी डजंट फील, मतलब ओवर थिंकिंग नहीं करती, मस्त रहती है, मतलब बिल्कुल, एंड यू नो विदाउट लाइक शी इज कॉन्फिडेंट ऑल्सो. I have had such friends, and I closely observed their families. This friend of mine, she's very very close to me, and in my vision board, I often imagine that I want to be as carefree and secured as her. And she always used to attract a lot of boys, and good boys, not chapri kind of boys, but you know, good IIT के बंदे, या फिर very very good gentry वाले जो friends थे उसके, they would be attracted to her. Okay. And but in the hindsight, when I observed her, and I know her family also, so her father, okay, her father and she share a very close bond, right? So अंकल इतने, मतलब मुझे कभी कभी लगता है काश ये मेरे पापा होते, because she has always been that, she has always received that security from a prime caregiver, that she is not looking for that outside. ठीक है, trying to understand what I'm saying. जो आपको घर पे नहीं मिला ना, वो आप बाहर ढूंढ रहे हो. So if you felt unheard because of your parents, then you start looking for it outside. But what you already got from your parents, you will never want to look it for outside. ठीक है, and the pattern will go on repeating till you try to break it. वो आता रहेगा, मतलब मेरे पास आती हैं ऐसे कुछ कुछ, आई हैव स्पोकन टू फ्यू फीमेल्स हु आर 50 प्लस, एंड दे आर ऑल्सो सेइंग द सेम कंप्लेन कि हमारा पार्टनर तुम्हारी रिस्पेक्ट नहीं करता है, या फिर दे आर इन द सेम लूप, लाइक they are no different than they were at 30, I would say. They have not grown to that level.
Okay.
So वहां पे पता चलता है कि आपको हेल्प चाहिए. डोंट गो विद द मोडालिटी, दीपांजलि. देखो, हो सकता है कि आपको थेरेपी ना हेल्प करे, वो अपोनो हेल्प कर जाए, राइट? सो यू हैव टू ट्राई डिफरेंट थिंग्स, बट देन यू ऑल्सो हैव टू ट्रस्ट समथिंग. लाइक आई मेंशन दैट, टेक अ डिसीजन एंड मेक इट राइट. ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता कि आपने थेरेपी ली है और आपने रेगुलरली वर्क करा है और आपको ना इम्पैक्ट हो. आई कैन गिव इट on a affidavit. It's definitely going to help you. ठीक है. So we are already 11:45 पे हैं हम. Let me take you through this case study. Okay. How to identify if someone has inner child issues. Uh, I'll just quickly take you through it because I want to cover the assessment also. ठीक है. People pleaser, self doubt, always needing to be busy. Some people feel that they always have to be working hard, they cannot rest, because as a child they were told sometimes that why are you sitting idle, खाली क्यों बैठे हो. जो हम भी बोलते हैं, if you're a mother you will also tell your child, do something, coloring कर लो, कुछ कर लो. why are you sitting idle, खाली क्यों बैठे हो. तो हम लोगों ने खाली बैठने को एक बहुत बड़ा, we have treated it as a sin. Okay. Then perfectionism, that Neha, I cannot launch my business on, I cannot post on Instagram unless this post is perfect. ठीक है. या फिर I cannot give this presentation unless this is perfect. Then codependency and neediness again, जो मैंने example दिया, that you think that you need to have a partner to keep you happy, or clingy, जैसे clingy girlfriends दिखाते हैं हिंदी movies में, something like that. Feelings of unworthiness, string of unhealthy relationship patterns, scared of uncertainty. You're always thinking about what will happen if my partner will die, what will happen if my parents will die. You're always thinking. You're so scared of uncertainties. Then overthinking, which we have already discussed. Then, of course, constant procrastination will also come under here, which I have not mentioned. And now, quickly, I'll be sharing this case study with you guys. Okay, I'll be just reading it. Okay. Jenny was a bright girl working in an MNC where she was in the branding team. She was responsible for brainstorming new ideas about advertising, which often involved presentations. Okay. So 4 years, it was 4 years since when Jenny was in this office, and she had not been promoted. Okay. So let us understand कि उसके साथ क्या होता था. So before any presentation, she would feel anxious, unsure about her work. Okay. And then she would tend to copy the presentation styles of the other performers. So if there is a performer in the team, she would try to, copy from that person, or maybe if that person is passing some witty one-liners in between the presentation, she would try to copy that. Okay. And then, she would be always second guessing her own talents. She would also always feel कि यार ये मैंने present बना तो दिया है, but is it okay? Am I sure about it? ये ठीक है? So during the presentation, she would never feel confident. Okay. And then every year when the appraisal meeting would happen, she would accept a lower rating without saying anything, कि just accept kar liya as it is. And she would say, her inner voice would be that, I need to do more to be promoted. I need to do more to be seen. Right. So then she approached a therapist, and so, when they worked on a session, and then she went to a event in her school when she was in class 3, where, okay, just a second, huh? So where she met her inner child. Okay, so how was little Jenny? Class 3 means 8 or 9 years. Okay, little Jenny was fun loving, and she would often crack jokes. She participated in jingle making competition, which went very well, and she was appreciated. But because she used to love to crack jokes, so at the end of the jingle, she cracked a joke which she had heard from someone. ठीक है? She had heard from someone in her neighborhood, from a elder kid, and when she passed that joke on the stage, the teachers did not accept it well, and it was inappropriate for her to crack such a joke. So teachers ने बहुत scolding करी, and then teachers ने parents को भी complain करी, and teachers and the parents threatened her that you can that you we should not have given you a chance to speak, or this kind of joke is not acceptable, and your behavior was very bad. And the parents told her that ऐसा बिहेव करोगे तो स्कूल से बाहर निकाल देंगे. एंड दिस इज अ वेरी कॉमन डायलॉग जो हम लोगों ने सबने सुना है, या हम बोलते भी हैं टू आवर किड्स, राइट? बट here the problem was that at that point in time, the third class wala Jenny, she did not know कि उस जोक में प्रॉब्लम क्या थी. What made the joke inappropriate for her? Okay, and that is what put her in the same capsule again and again. That every time she would give the presentation, she would go a public, like stand up in front of public. She would always say, "I will make a mistake. I will make a mistake. I will make a mistake." So what happened there? Let's see. Jenny was actually stuck in the space of the 8-year-old, where she picked up that what others do is better. ठीक है? I cannot present in an appropriate way. ठीक है? I need to be perfect to be appreciated, which reflected in her appraisal. I need to be perfect to keep my job. Others are better than me. That's why she was copying others. Like, they are better than me. Maybe the performers are better than me. Maybe I can copy that and be better, you know. So all of this was leading her to lose her confidence. And that inner critic remained inside her. Okay. And tell me if this resonates with you people at some level. Because इसके बाद we will do the assessment. And if it is clear that कैसे हमारा adult behavior पुराने अपने हमारे बचपन से रिलेटेड होता है. Does it resonate, Sayali? If you cannot talk, you can maybe put in the chat box. Or do you want more examples? I have shared my personal stories also on Instagram. Okay. And yesterday I shared a situation of a couple where both the husband and the wife, they both were coming from a very different backgrounds, and they both had different kinds of behaviors, which was causing a rift between them, and how they coped up. ठीक है? Maybe you can read that if you want. I can share it, but let's make it interactive. ऐसा नहीं तो फिर otherwise it looks like a monologue, guys, that only I am speaking. Should we start the assessment then? Maybe you can give me a thumbs up. Sit with a pen and a paper. Yeah. Sayali, are you with me? Yes. ठीक है. I'll ask you questions, okay? And you simply have to write yes or no. Y or N लिख सकते हो आप if that statement resonates with you. And I will tell you later. अगर मैंने अभी बता दिया तो हो सकता है कि आप लोग जानबूझ के N लिखो उस पे. Just be very honest with your own self. ठीक है? Be very honest with your own self so that you understand and you are able to make the most out of this session which we are taking. Okay. Yeah. So I'll stop the screen sharing and I will also pin myself so that you can, yeah. Mm, okay, no worries. So, ठीक है, sit with a pen and paper and let us see how many yes and how many no's you people get. And so these would be like a statements, and we will see that uh, do you have inner child trauma? Do you need inner child healing or not? एंड ऐसा नहीं है कि इसमें आपका है कि यस यू नीड अ इनर चाइल्ड हीलिंग तो आपको आज ही सेशन रजिस्टर करना है नहीं इट इज अप टू यू द क्विकर यू टेक एक्शन द क्विकर विल बी योर हीलिंग सो लेट अस स्टार्ट वेयर इज द डॉक्यूमेंट या सो आई विल बी स्टार्टिंग विद द क्वेश्चंस एंड आई विल गो स्लो ठीक है सो लेट अस स्टार्ट यस या नो लिखना सिर्फ Y और N you can write and we'll in the end we will just count कि कितने yes है कितने no है ठीक है so here goes the first question. The first question is I experience anxiety and fear whenever I contemplate doing anything new. I experience anxiety and fear whenever I contemplate doing anything new. Yeah. Now, going to the second question. I am a people pleaser and I have no identity of my own. I am a people pleaser and I have a no identity of my own. So, people pleasing would simply mean, going out of your way to help people without considering your own limitations. If you do that, right, yes. If you don't do that, very good, right, no. ठीक है आइडेंटिटी वाले पार्ट को इतना सीरियसली मत लेना ठीक है it's a question basically which means that if you are people pleasing too much then maybe you are losing yourself then I am a rebel. The third question is I am a rebel. I feel alive when I am in conflict. Okay. So for me, when I did this assessment years ago, this was a yes, right? My mind was so used to chaos that I would keep picking up things to fight with my partner or with someone, okay, or with my colleagues. I would try to find like my mind would try to find chaos somehow. So I am a rebel. I feel alive when I am conflict. Yes or no? Okay. Then the fourth question. In the deepest places of my secret self, I feel there is something wrong with me. In the deepest places of my secret self, I feel there is something wrong with me. Basically, you feel that, there is something wrong with me. Why am I like this? Those kind of. And we almost have 45 questions, guys. So थोड़ा थोड़ा सा मैं जल्दी करती हूँ. It's okay. ठीक है. I am a hoarder. I am a hoarder. I have trouble letting go of anything. I am a hoarder and I have a trouble letting go of anything, which means that if you have very old shoes and it's very difficult for you to let go of those shoes, even though you don't wear it, or you keep on collecting a lot of new things कि बस market गए shopping कर ली, even if it's not of any use to you. I feel inadequate as a man or a woman. I feel inadequate as a man or a woman?
Neha, this holder thing is only related to physical
Your voice is breaking,
things,
Dipanjali, but
और
it
is
is.
it like कि forgiveness forgetfulness नहीं होती किसी चीज को लेकर?
नहीं नहीं, होल्डर अभी लेट्स स्टिक टू।
मैं कह रही थी कि सिर्फ फिजिकल थिंग से रिलेटेड है कि जैसे कि इफ यू आर नॉट एबल टू फॉरगेट समथिंग इजीली, सो विल
No,
आई
that
कॉल्ड
is
बी अ
not
होल्डर
hoarding.
और नॉट?
That is not hoarding. That would probably come in past thoughts and renumination बोलते हैं उसको psychological terms में. Hoarder मतलब things के बारे में ही लिखो अभी. ठीक है. So the next one is I am confused about my sexual identity. So some of these questions you might feel that how is this related to it, but this is made for everyone. So even people from LGBTQ community वाले जो लोग होते हैं, even they take this assessment to understand that what their childhood experiences have been shaped as. In fact, my mentor जिनके साथ मैं अभी एक course कर रही हूँ, he is from that community. Okay, so yeah, so he also shares a lot of his experiences with me, right? So then next go to the next question. I feel guilty when I stand up for myself and would rather give in to others. Okay. I feel guilty when I stand up for myself and would rather give in to others. The next question is I have trouble starting things. कोई भी चीज शुरू करने में मुझे ट्रबल होता है. I have trouble to start things. I have a trouble to finish things. दिस वॉज माइंड कि मतलब मुझे बहुत दिक्कत होती है चीज खत्म करते टाइम. आई फील लाइक ओ गॉड नाउ आई एम ऑलरेडी बोर्ड. स्टार्ट करने में मुझे प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती है. ठीक है. सो आई हैव ट्रबल स्टार्टिंग थिंग्स. नेक्स्ट इज आई हैव अ ट्रबल फिनिशिंग थिंग्स. देन नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. आई रेयरली हैव अ थॉट ऑफ माई ओन. I rarely have a thought of my own, meaning that do I have my own thoughts or do I tend to absorb the thoughts from others? So, क्या ये statement relatable है? I rarely have a thought of my own. I continually criticize myself for being inadequate. So, this is like a self-doubt wala thing. Then I consider myself a terrible sinner and I'm afraid I'm going to hell. I consider myself as a terrible sinner and I am afraid I'm going to hell. Then next is I am rigid and a perfectionist. I am rigid and perfectionist, right? And then moving to the 15th question, I feel like I never measure up. I never get anything right. Basically, you feel like यार मैं कभी कुछ सही कर ही नहीं सकती हूँ. I feel like I never measure up and I never get anything right. Then the next question is, I feel like I really don't know what I want. मुझे पता ही नहीं है यार मुझे क्या चाहिए. Very common statement. A lot of people tell me this. Then the next one, I am a driver to be a super achiever. Okay. Those who think that our worth is only when we achieve something, when I earn X amount, then only I am worthy. That can be one example here. So I am a driver to be a super achiever. That if I don't super achieve, then I am not comfortable with that. So the next one is I believe I don't really matter except when I'm sexual. I'm afraid I will be rejected or abandoned if I'm not a good lover. Okay, so this is very personal. This could be related to. So you guys don't have to tell me कि आपने किसका yes लिखा, किसका no लिखा. We will just be counting the number. But this question generally means that whenever you are with your partner, or even as we grow up, we see that a lot of people, even in young age, they get involved in physical relationships because a lot of them feel that I might be rejected if I'm not a good lover. We all must have had some teenage friends कि जिनको लगता है कि नहीं यार फिजिकल होंगे तो my husband my boyfriend will not leave me. ठीक है. So I believe that I really don't matter except when I'm sexual. I'm afraid I will be rejected or abandoned if I'm not a good lover. The 19th question पे आ रही हूँ मैं. My life is empty. I feel depressed a lot of times. Then the next question is I don't really know who I am. I'm not sure what my values are or what I think about things. I don't really know who I am. मुझे नहीं पता है मैं कौन हूँ. I'm not sure what my values are and what I think about things. ठीक है. Now, so the next set of questions would be about your basic needs, okay? And these were related to your identity. Now, again, I am out of touch. So let's start with them. I am out of touch with my bodily needs. I don't know when I'm tired, hungry, or horny. I am out of touch with my bodily needs. मुझे नहीं पता है कि मेरी बॉडी को कब क्या चाहिए. I don't know when I'm tired, hungry, or horny. ये ज्यादातर छोटे बच्चों के साथ होता है, right? But it can happen with adults also. I don't like being touched. I don't like being touched. I often have sex when I don't really want to. Right? So this is also like a people pleasing thing where you are not respecting your body, but you are only trying to please the other person. I have had or currently have an eating disorder. Okay. Binge eating or starving, both are eating disorders. I have had or I currently have an eating disorder. Okay. I rarely know what I feel. I rarely know what I feel. I feel ashamed when I get mad. So, I feel ashamed when I get mad. मतलब अगर मुझे गुस्सा आ रहा है तो I feel ashamed that, why am I getting angry? I rarely get mad, but when I do, I have rage. I rarely get mad. मुझे बहुत कम गुस्सा आता है, but जब आता है तो बहुत ज्यादा आता है. When I do, I have rage. I fear other people's anger and I will do mostly anything to control it. I fear other people's anger and I will do mostly anything to control it, right? So a child who might have seen his mother's anger, right? In order to control that, that child might do anything. My brother used to do this a lot. He would feel very anxious when my mom would get angry. So in order to uh, in order to calm her down, he would start scolding us that, why are you making her angry? But he would do anything to just keep her in control, right? So I feel other people's anger and I will do anything to control it. And a lot of wives also do that, don't do this, पापा को गुस्सा आ जाएगा या फिर, husband will get angry if I do this. So the next question for basic needs is I am ashamed when I cry. I'm ashamed when I cry. I'm ashamed when I'm scared. I'm ashamed when I'm scared. I almost never express unpleasant emotions. I almost never express unpleasant emotions. I have sleep disorders. I believe that food or sex is my greatest need. I feel food or sex is my greatest need. or even alcohol or something like that would also come in this, because usually people use it as a coping mechanism. Okay, so I think we are good till now. अभी और भी क्वेश्चंस हैं, ठीक है, we'll cover the social aspects now. Only 20 more questions are left and then we will ask the answers. ठीक है, so social में है, I basically distrust everyone including myself. Basically trust, distrust, मतलब मैं किसी पे भी ट्रस्ट नहीं करती, अपने आप पे भी नहीं करती. And I asked this question on the group that day, but most people said yes. Okay, and I have brilliant examples of this one. Basically distrust everyone. बहुत से लोग they want to sign up for coaching program, therapy, but they said कि मुझसे नहीं हो पाएगा. So that is the distrust in themselves first, right? I have been or am now married to an addict. So if your partner, if any of your ex-partners or if your current partner is addicted to something, then you can put a yes here. I've been or now I'm married to an addict. The third question is, I am obsessive and controlling in my relationship. I am obsessive and controlling in my relationship. I am an addict. Yes or no? I am an addict. Okay. Then the next one is definitely very relatable for me. I am out isolated and afraid of people, especially authority figures. I am isolated, afraid of people, especially authority figures. If you feel scared of your bosses in the office or someone who is in authority. So the next one is, I hate being alone and I'll do almost anything to avoid it. I hate being alone and I'll always do anything to avoid it. Okay. So the next question is, I find myself doing what I think others expect from me. I find myself doing what I think others are expecting out of me. मतलब आप वही करते हो जो आपको लगता है कि वो लोग मुझसे ये एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे होंगे, तो फिर मैं वही करूंगी. ठीक है. Then the eighth question is, I avoid conflict at all costs. कुछ भी हो जाए, बस लड़ाई नहीं होनी चाहिए. I avoid conflict at all the costs. Not लड़ाई exactly, but एक होता है ना कि you just want to agree with the other person to avoid any kind of argument, maybe. So the next question is, I rarely say no to another's suggestion, and I feel another session is almost an order to be obeyed. And I still do this, guys, sometimes, so it's okay to put a yes, don't feel bad about it. I rarely say no to another suggestion, and I feel that another suggestion is almost an order to be obeyed. So if my partner has suggested something, even now, I feel like कि नहीं यार, इसके suggestion के हिसाब से ही चलना चाहिए. Otherwise, maybe he will feel upset or something. And the next question is, I have an overdeveloped sense of responsibility. It is easier for me to be concerned for others than myself. I have an overdeveloped sense of responsibility. It is easier for me to be concerned with others, for others than myself. Okay, now last 10 questions are left. I often do not say no directly and then refuse to do what others ask me in passive ways. Okay, I often do not say no directly, and to refuse, I use passive ways. मतलब कुछ बहाना बना दिया. पार्टी पे नहीं जाना तो यार एक्चुअली मेरे आज सर में दर्द है, आज मेरी गाड़ी खराब है. But you cannot say that no, I don't feel like coming. So इसका ये मतलब है. Then I don't know how to resolve conflict with others. I either overpower my opponent or completely withdraw from them. Okay. This used to be my issue at one point in time. I don't know how to resolve conflicts with others. I either overpower my opponent or I completely withdraw from them. I rarely ask for clarification of statements I do not understand. I rarely ask for clarification of statements that I don't understand. Very common in office spaces. Yeah. Then next is 14th question. I frequently guess at what other statement means and respond to it basis of my guesses. I frequently guess what other statements mean and I respond to it based on my guess. Basically, you try to read too much between the lines कि जो बंदा बोल रहा है उसका ये मतलब नहीं है उसका ये मतलब है. ठीक है. Then the next one is I never felt close to one or both my parents. I never felt close to one or both my parents. 16th question. I confuse love with pity and tend to love people I can pity. I confuse love with pity, okay, and tend to love people I can pity. So अगर आपको किसी पे दया आ रही है तो I tend to love them out of pity, not out of love. I ridicule myself and others if they make a mistake. I ridicule myself. So this is like a self-blaming thing. I ridicule myself and others if they make a mistake. Next question is I give in easily and conform to the group. अगर मैं ग्रुप में हूं तो मैं सबकी बात मान लूंगी अपना ओपिनियन नहीं दूंगी. I give in easily and I conform to the group. Last two questions left. Okay. I'm fiercely competitive and a poor loser. So this is also very relatable for me. I'm fiercely competitive and I am a poor loser. But if I lose, then I simply lose it. कि भैया बस बहुत हो गया. ठीक है. So the last question is my most profound fear is the fear of abandonment, and I will do anything to hold on to the relationship. My most profound fear is the fear of abandonment. कि यार ऐसा नहीं करूंगी तो ये मुझे छोड़ तो नहीं देगा यार तो मुझे छोड़ तो नहीं देगी. And I will do anything to hold on to that relationship. So these are the set of questions, and both of you tell me your score in the chat box. कितने yes कितने हैं मुझे yes count करके बताओ. And be open. This is a safe space. मैं किसी को जाके नहीं बता रही हूँ कि इनको इनर चाइल्ड ट्रॉमा है. सबका ही होता है. ठीक है. So relax. Count the number of yes. Okay. Sayali, don't be competitive, guys. Okay. Almost all yes, except 4 and 5. Yeah. So I'll tell you something. Uh, this assessment is not to scare you. I'm sure अगर मैं ये पर्चा वर्ल्ड में सबको दूंगी, ठीक है, तो everybody would be having minimum 10 years सबके होंगे ही होंगे because these are the traits which we all have. And even when I was reading these sentences, a lot of these even resonated with me, right? And I also do have triggers, but होता क्या है ना जब आप ये एक प्रोसेस से चले जाते हो ना, then those triggers really reduce. ठीक है. वो ट्रिगर्स आपके ना मतलब ट्रिगर्स होते भी है ना तो भी आपको पता है कि कैसे मैनेज करना है. सो आपका एक रिएक्शन नहीं आएगा. यू नो दैट यू नो you will ground yourself and you will tell yourself that this is from where this part is coming. That this is the 5-year-old Sayali who is maybe scared of speaking, or she's confused. But now I am an adult and I don't have to carry that story forward. आपकी वो टोन ही, मतलब आपकी पूरी लाइफ ही चेंज हो जाती है, आपका तरीका ही पूरा चेंज हो जाता है. दैट्स व्हाई आई टेल एवरीबडी कि दिस इज द नीड ऑफ द आवर. आप, एंड द मोर डिले यू डू, द मोर टाइम यू वेस्ट. समटाइम्स आई फील दैट व्हाई डिड आई स्टार्टेड टेकिंग थेरेपी एट 32? व्हाई नॉट एट 25? व्हाई नॉट एट 26? ठीक है. सो एंड आई यूज्ड टू वर्क, गाइस. आई वाज अ मदर. आई यूज्ड टू गो टू ऑफिस. एंड कई बार तो मैं ऑफिस के मीटिंग रूम से भी मैंने सेशंस लिए हुए हैं. एंड ड्यूरिंग कोविड टाइम्स आई वुड जस्ट लॉक माई रूम एंड टेक अ सेशन देयर. सो आई अंडरस्टैंड. बहुत सारी women बोलती हैं कि यार हमारे हस्बैंड होते हैं, नो व्हाट ही विल थिंक. बट ट्रस्ट मी, इफ यू हील योर सेल्फ, इफ यू डू द 50% ऑफ द वर्क ना, तो अगर आपका रिलेशनशिप इम्पैक्ट हो रहा है ना, इट विल completely change. नाउ आई एम ओपनिंग अप फॉर क्वेश्चन आंसर्स, बिकॉज मेरे पास, मैं तो मतलब इस टॉपिक पे रात तक बोल सकती हूँ. ठीक है. आई एम रीडिंग बुक्स ऑन दिस एंड आई हैव lots of experiences, a lot of case studies also. But I want you guys to speak up. Sayali, can you talk? Or if you cannot talk, then put your questions here. uh, we have spoken before also, so I would really say कि कुछ स्टेप लो यार, मुझसे नहीं तो किसी और से ले लो सेशंस, बट लो, कुछ करो अपने लिए. डोंट सफर. It doesn't imply anything. It just implies that we have a lot of parameters wherein we either do not have boundaries, okay, or where we are not being our authentic selves. ठीक है. इनर चाइल्ड वर्क का सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंस ये होता है कि हम ऑथेंटिक सेल्फ से कनेक्टेड नहीं होते. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, basically you cannot reach a potential. Just simply imagine like a butterfly stuck in a jar which has closed. बटरफ्लाई को लगता है कि मेरी यही दुनिया है. ठीक है. बट व्हेन वी ओपन द जार, इवन व्हेन वी ओपन द जार, बटरफ्लाई को नहीं पता है कि वो बाहर भी जा सकती है. राइट. बट इमेजिन somebody comes and tells the butterfly that butterfly, तू बाहर जाएगी ना, you will see so many flowers, you will have such a beautiful world, and then it will be scared to move out. But the moment it does move out, it will get into its original form of what a butterfly does. राइट. और हैव यू सीन दैट दोज बर्ड्स इन अ केज, जो होती है ना कि वो केज में ही रहती है. वी हैव ऑल मस्ट हैव हर्ड अबाउट दिस कि हमने पिंजरा खोल दिया फिर भी वो बाहर नहीं निकल रही, या फिर अगर वो बाहर निकल भी नहीं है तो भी दिल जस्ट टेक अ छोटा सा राउंड एंड कम बैक टू द केज. राइट. दिस इज व्हाट द इनर चाइल्ड वर्क और द ट्रॉमास आर होल्डिंग यू बैक, क्योंकि आपको पता ही नहीं है कि इससे बाहर की भी एक दुनिया हो सकती है. क्योंकि हमें पता ही नहीं है कि हम लोगों को नो भी बोल सकते हैं, और नो बोल के हम अपनी सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट ही बढ़ाते हैं, हम उनको कुछ वो नहीं करते. दैट इवन इवन वी शुड एंड वी कैन से नो टू आवर मदर्स ऑल्सो. I had huge mother wounds, and I have shared stories about all of these things on my Instagram also, that how I healed my relationship with my mother when I would do that. I used to have a very difficult relationship with my mom. Always, she would always keep comparing myself with her and a lot of things, a lot of things. But since 2 years, that relationship has completely changed because I started setting up my boundaries. I started, healing myself, and everything started moving. And same goes with my partner also. So स्कोर का यही मतलब है कि मतलब कुछ है, you have something to work on. Right. So, Sayali, if you don't have any question, Dipanji, you are frozen. Yeah, we can. Hmm, I'll stop your video. Yeah. If there are no questions, we will meet tomorrow at 11 o'clock. We will be doing a meditation and we will be doing a journaling, right? And if anybody wants, like Dipanjali, if anybody wants, you can obviously sign up for sessions. But I would really recommend start the work. Sessions 15 दिन में एक सेशन होता है. ऐसा नहीं है कि it's like, it will not be every day. And then you can, Catherine has joined now after the session has ended. Okay. Catherine, I'll be sending you the recording. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, thanks.
Yeah, I'll be sending you the recording. So yeah, that's it, and we'll connect tomorrojust Um, yeah, have a good day. That's all. Like I said, I don't finish things properly. I don't know what to say in the end. But yeah, Catherine, I shared an assessment today on, I asked questions. So if you have time today,
Yes.
you can do those questions and you can go through the recording and answer those questions with a yes or no, and you can share your score with me. And of course, उससे पहले
Yes.
मैंने सारे concepts and all I have explained, but uh, feel free to ask me any questions on the group also. ठीक है?
All right.
Okay. Thank you guys.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot.
Neha,
Bye.
do you mind
Bye.
staying back for a minute, please?
Yeah, sure. Sayali and Catherine, you can leave. Dipanjali has something, so she will ask me.
Thank you, Neha.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah. Bye. So